So obviously, Nintendo is known for numerous different franchises over the years, some of which becoming much bigger successes than others, but names like Mario, Zelda, Animal Crossing, Super Smash Bros., and Mario Kart as its spin-off from the Mario series being wildly successful in huge sales numbers. And one name you can't leave off that list of vastly successful franchises is none other than the Pokémon Company, because of course we see Pokémon release exclusively on Nintendo hardware, as we have tracing all the way back to the Game Boy. Now, yes, there are mobile games and spin-offs now that you can certainly play on smartphones, just like you can play a Mario game on your smartphone. But the core of the series is an exclusive Nintendo business partnership with the Pokémon Company and Nintendo, and we have seen a lot of different support recently on the Nintendo Switch. If you just look at the end of 2021 through 2022, we saw Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Nintendo DS remakes that were wildly successful, released in November of 2021. Then you fast forward just to January of 2022, and we saw Pokemon Legends Arceus, still one of my favorite, if not my favorite ever Pokemon experience to this game, because of what that game did with the gameplay mechanics, the formula, and I really thought it took it to the next level, leaps and bounds above where it was before in terms of the overworld mechanics and how you control your character. Then we saw most recently Pokemon Scarlet and Violet released towards the end of 2022. Now those games, while wildly successful from a sales perspective, did have its fair share of controversy attached with them, because you may remember that those games are anything but optimized for the Nintendo Switch still to this day, and we have yet to see any kind of real notable performance patch to fix some of the issues and glitches and slowdowns and frame stutter that you see when experiencing those games. And while it's debatable on whether or not you could call some of that stuff game breaking, it is definitely going to take a certain number of users out of the enjoyable experience when there are clear technical issues with the games. And we even had Nintendo of America put out a statement shortly after the games were released, essentially apologizing on Game Freak's behalf, stating that they're aware of the issues and they will be working to address them. Again, we really don't have that kind of night and day difference at this point in time, but they were very aware of Game Freak's and the Pokemon Company's struggle with those releases when it comes to the technical aspect of the series. Well, now we have some very interesting news, because as mentioned, the release schedule for those Pokemon games were so back to back. We are in something of an off year this year, because we recently learned at the latest Pokemon Presents that DLC 1 will be out on September 13th this year, and we are expecting a winter timeline for DLC 2 to hit. And outside of games like Detective Pikachu, which is a spin-off from the Pokemon franchise, there are no other massive remakes, remasters, or confirmed projects other than that rumored Legends games that I very much hope is a real thing, by the way, because I would love to see it happen. But you can clearly see that that is a very aggressive release schedule for any game company out there to try to stick to, and I think that it is now becoming very clear to the Pokemon Company that they may not be able to stick to that kind of release schedule cadence going forward, and I think this is actually a very good thing for Pokemon fans and just gaming fans as a whole, because you never want to see a game rushed out the door, and while it may sell massive numbers, if it has massive technical issues and they're never really addressed, or even if they are addressed but too little too late, it is not a good practice for a company to continue to operate with that strategy. And you can see this following article over on VGC that does detail the following, which I believe is Nintendo fixing a very big problem that could potentially plague future Pokemon releases. So let's first get on the same page by reading through this detailed typed up article together. Pokemon Company having conversations about release schedules and ensuring quality. The company's COO appears to acknowledge recent technical issues. The Pokemon Company has a long history of publishing new video games often. Only 7 years in the last 27 have not seen a new mainline release. In 12 months leading up to Scarlet and Violet's release last November, 3 major Switch titles were released, including Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. However, the series' cadence appears to have caused some quality issues during the HD era. At release, 2019 Sword and Shield was criticized for poor visual quality, while last year's Scarlet and Violet launched with many technical issues, which Nintendo even apologized for. Speaking at the Pokemon World Championships in Yokohama, Japan this weekend, the Pokemon Company COO Hikato Yutsunomo was asked by comicbook.com if there was a specific schedule that the Pokemon brand was beholden to when it came to the release of new Pokemon games. I think in general, if we look at the past, the path we've been on up until now has been this constant release, always regularly releasing products on a fairly fixed kind of cadence, you might say. Always having these products able to be introduced and new experiences for our customers, and that's how we've operated up until now. I think we're still operating in that way, but there's more and more conversations as the development environments change about how we can continue to do this while making sure that we're ensuring really quality products are also being introduced. Now, while that's not them outright saying that they are going to stop releasing Pokemon games so frequently year in and year out with remakes and also with brand new mainline entries every year or two, I do think that that is definitely a statement of acknowledgement that what they are doing with the current state of Scarlet and Violet and the development tactics that were used to get those games to the retail finish line were ultimately a poor decision. And while they did sell very well, they also kind of came along with that next level scrutiny and really maybe could have appealed to an even broader audience if they were being praised for the look of the environment and praised for how the game looks and feels and runs, and it definitely had its fair share of controversy behind it. And I think it is very good to see the Pokemon Company being aware of this, and I also think that Nintendo probably at the end of the day had something to do with the direction of a new release schedule for the Pokemon Company. I think it's one of those things where while it's not Nintendo's Mario or Zelda, they are still right there, very associated with the Pokemon Company and their games, as they are the only platform that they historically release on. And now that we are in an environment with the Switch where Nintendo's home console is also their handheld console due to the hybrid form factor, I think that it's something that you can't crank out these games near as fast as you used to be able to with a lower resolution for handheld play, and especially before really the 3D era was even introduced into the Pokemon Company. And I do think that Game Freak has to take a step back and really look at what engines they're using. There's some speculation and rumors online that they may be even shifting to things like Unreal Engine 5 due to job postings. There could be a lot of moving pieces with the future of Pokemon games that will be very exciting for us gamers at the end of the day, but this is a good step one, and what I think is Nintendo ultimately fixing a big problem, which could really stem into, yes, more Pokemon games, but less quality experiences, and maybe not the entire vision of what the game really could be if you just don't give it that love and care and time that it ultimately needs to be a justified $60 or $70 retail price point that we will likely see going forward. But I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video, your personal thoughts and opinions on Nintendo's involvement with all of this. Do you think that, yes, indeed, we will see a more relaxed release schedule for Pokemon games? And do you think that ultimately translates to better tech, things looking and playing better in these finalized releases, and ultimately more successful Pokemon games for the Pokemon Company, Game Freak, and Nintendo? And what direction do you personally hope we see the series go? Are you like me and you're really a fan of the Legend style mechanics and you want to see that kind of be maybe the new core for all the series mainline entries in the future? Are you more of a fan of Scarlet and Violet with just the open world aspect and being able to go wherever you want in any order? I definitely would like to see Legends mechanics in open world. I think that'd be a best of both worlds, but what do you want to see? So regardless of your thoughts and feelings on everything we talked about today, I do look forward to hearing from you all in the comments down below before you leave the video, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you all around these topics. Go watch yesterday's video next if you haven't already, which is on screen right now. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.